What if I told you Psalm 23 is not just poetry for troubled nights, but a declaration designed to reshape how you live every single day? Too often, we treat these words as background music at funerals, a gentle lullaby when life feels heavy. But David didn't write them from a palace of comfort. He wrote them in the middle of pressure, surrounded by enemies, carrying the weight of uncertainty. That changes everything. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, isn't a soft wish. It's a battle cry, a line drawn in the sand declaring lack, fear, and confusion have no claim over your soul. But here's the twist. Most of us recite these words without realizing the authority they carry. We nod, we memorize, we repeat, but we forget that this psalm is more than consolation. It's a covenant. David's secret was not in his strength, but in his shepherd. And if that's true, then this psalm isn't just describing God's care for David thousands of years ago. It's describing his care for you right now. Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll see how the shepherd provides peace in ways you may have overlooked your entire life.
Here's the first breakthrough hidden in Psalm 23. The shepherd doesn't just provide resources, he provides peace. David writes, "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters." Notice that word makes. Sheep don't naturally rest. They're anxious, easily startled, quick to scatter at the smallest noise. Sound familiar? We live like that too, constantly on edge, restless in our own thoughts, afraid to slow down. Yet David shows us that real provision isn't only about food, money, or opportunities. It's about God forcing us into rhythms of rest our souls desperately need. Think about it. Green pastures mean nourishment, but still waters mean calm. Both are necessary. Some of us want the blessings without the stillness, but the shepherd ties them together. Peace is not a luxury, it's a provision. When he says, "I shall not want," it includes the absence of chaos in your spirit. And here's the paradox. Sometimes the breakthrough you're chasing won't arrive until you actually pause. Because the shepherd doesn't only give you what you ask for, he gives you what you don't even realize you're missing. But wait, this is just the beginning. Because after providing peace, the shepherd takes it one step further. He restores what life has broken.
After peace comes direction. Psalm 23 says, "He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake." That little phrase carries a big truth. God doesn't just guide you randomly, his leadership has purpose. Notice it doesn't say, "I figured it out," or "I stumbled into the right path." It says, "He leads me." The responsibility for direction is on the shepherd, not on you. That means when you feel stuck at a crossroads, paralyzed by choices, or terrified of messing everything up, you can breathe. You are not wandering alone, you're being led intentionally. Here's the twist. Those paths of righteousness don't always look like straight highways. Sometimes they look like detours, delays, or even dead ends. But remember this, his name is on the line. God ties his reputation to your journey. If he's guiding you, he's not just invested in your destination, he's invested in his glory, shining through your story. And that means even the roads you would never choose can end up becoming the exact ones that shape you. The shepherd's purpose is bigger than your comfort. It's about aligning your life with his. And just when you think the path should get easier, David shows us it often leads straight into valleys. But don't panic. That's where his presence proves unshakable.
David shifts the scene with raw honesty. "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." Notice, he doesn't say if but when. Valleys aren't optional, they're inevitable. Dark nights, crushing battles, seasons that feel endless, they come for everyone. But here's the key. The valley doesn't define you, the shepherd's presence does. Fear loses its grip, not because the danger disappears, but because the defender never leaves your side. The rod and staff are more than poetic images. The rod was a weapon used to strike predators that threatened the flock. The staff, with its hook, was for pulling sheep out of pits or nudging them back onto the safe path. Together they reveal two sides of God's protection. He fights the battles you cannot see, and He guides you away from dangers you cannot measure. Every near miss, every time you felt spared without explanation, that was His rod. And every inner nudge, conviction, or redirection, that was His staff pulling you close. But here's the twist. Comfort doesn't come after the battle, it comes in the battle. God doesn't always remove the valley, sometimes He transforms you inside it. You don't just survive, you learn that evil cannot win, and just when you think His role is only defense, the psalm shocks us. He turns the battlefield into a banquet hall, setting a table in the presence of your enemies. And that's the kind of victory we'll step into next.
Just when you expect Psalm 23 to keep the language of survival, David surprises us. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Think about this for a second. God doesn't just remove your enemies, He blesses you right in front of them. That's not escape, that's elevation. What looked like defeat becomes the very stage where He crowns you with honor. The valley wasn't the conclusion, it was the setup for your celebration. The table here is more than food. It's about identity and belonging. In ancient culture, to sit at the host's table meant you were protected, favored, and chosen. The shepherd is saying, "You are mine, and no enemy can touch what I've claimed." Then comes the oil. Anointing wasn't casual. It marked kings, priests, and leaders for divine purpose. When David says, "You anoint my head with oil," he's declaring that God doesn't just heal him from the valley, He promotes him through it. Your scars become symbols of authority. Your pain becomes a testimony of power. And here's the part that shakes the narrative. The table is set in the presence of your enemies. Why? Because God doesn't hide your victory, He displays it. Those who doubted you, the battles that tried to bury you, the voices that mocked your faith, they all have to watch as your cup overflows. That's not survival, that's abundance. That's not barely making it, that's triumph on display. But the shepherd doesn't stop with honor on earth. The psalm ends with something even greater, a promise of dwelling in His presence forever. And that eternal dwelling is the final twist we'll uncover next.
Here's the final crescendo of Psalm 23. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Notice how the psalm doesn't end with the valley or even the victory banquet, it ends with an unshakable promise. The shepherd doesn't just provide once or protect occasionally, He surrounds you daily with His goodness and mercy. And these aren't passive qualities, they are relentless companions. The Hebrew word for follow is much stronger. It means to pursue, to chase after with intensity. Imagine that God's mercy is not walking politely behind you, it's running after you, making sure you never escape His love. Think back on your own life. How many times did you look back and realize you were carried when you thought you had no strength left? That wasn't luck. That was goodness pursuing you. How many doors closed only to redirect you towards something better? That was mercy chasing you. Even in your darkest moments, even when you wandered off the path, the shepherd's love was on your heels, refusing to let you go. This is not a promise for some days, not just the good days. It's all the days of your life. Every sunrise carries His kindness. Every season is wrapped in His mercy. And here's the twist most people miss. David isn't just pointing to eternity, he's pointing to a present reality. Dwelling in the house of the Lord forever doesn't only mean heaven one day, it means living right now with a mindset of presence. Picture your life as a dwelling place, every room filled with peace, every corner marked by mercy, every hallway echoing with promises. The shepherd doesn't just visit occasionally, He surrounds you constantly. And maybe that's why Psalm 23 has never lost its power. It's not just a poem, it's a picture of being pursued by divine love every single day.
So here's where it all comes together. Psalm 23 is not just a psalm for funerals or a poem for comfort, it's a manual for victorious living. It begins with provision in green pastures, leads us through valleys with courage, honors us with a table of abundance, and surrounds us with relentless goodness and mercy. From start to finish, it declares that life with the shepherd is not about survival, it's about overflow. The valley is not the destination, the enemies are not the final word, and fear is not the ruler of your story. The shepherd is. But here's the challenge. Will you live as if this is true? Too often we recite Psalm 23 without letting it reshape our mindset. What if tomorrow you walked as if provision was guaranteed, as if protection was already surrounding you, as if mercy was actively pursuing you right now? Imagine how your choices, your prayers, and even your outlook would shift. This psalm is not passive, it's an invitation to live differently, to carry confidence in every season, because the shepherd is both before you and behind you. And maybe that's why this psalm ends, not with struggle but with dwelling. You're not a guest in God's presence, you're a resident. You don't just visit his house, you live there, day by day, step by step, moment by moment. So let Psalm 23 be more than words on a page. Let it be the lens you see life through. Valleys will come, battles will rise, but the shepherd's promise is stronger. Before you scroll away, I want to hear from you. Declare it boldly in the comments with this phrase, "The Lord is my shepherd." Let that be your headline, your testimony, and your reminder today. And tell me, which part of Psalm 23 speaks loudest to you right now? His provision, his protection, or his pursuit? Your answer might be the very encouragement someone else needs in their valley.